everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Yeah.
Hello.
Whoa.
Doing wonderful.
Oh, you're blessed and highly favored?
Yeah.
Hallelujah. All right, well, welcome back. We have been on our summer hiatus for Hey Sister, and we're super excited to welcome you all back with us. Sister, what have you been doing this summer?
I've been doing a lot. But you know how it is when you ask me exactly what I'm doing, I can't think of it right now. I've been doing a lot. One of the major things is I've been renovating our childhood home.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, I have spent a few days being a construction worker.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the construction workers and those who do the general contractors, subcontractors. It's hard work. I get tired very quickly.
All right, we got one of our super fans. Hey, Joe. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And if you are tuning in, please let us know. We want you to join the conversation in the comments. Drop in. We got lots of things to talk about because you know what? Foolishness do not take a break.
It does.
Foolishness just don't take a break. You know, every time we think we get a reprieve, every time we think that like things are gonna get a little bit better, every time we start feeling good about ourselves, all hell breaks loose. Yes, we miss you too. Hey, Damari, how you doing? Damari. We're so glad to welcome you to the Hey Sister family.
Yes.
So yes, tonight we want y'all to join the conversation in the comments. Let us know where you're watching us from, and just get into what we about to put down tonight. Because honey, we got a lot to talk about this evening. Lots and lots. Okay. So we came up with a top 10.
Although every day presents
another top 10, but we tried to just distill down like what were the top stories or the top things that drove the summer. And so we want to get into our top 10 summer recap, and we're going to go through. We want to get y'all comments. We got lots to say about lots of things. So the first thing, in memoriam, we lost some really big giants in entertainment and politics and policy and all kind of stuff around the world. And it's been like really interesting, just kind of like a weird, I don't know, just kind of like what's happening, like kind of thought process is like, it's just been kind of weird to me. I don't know about you, but you know, a couple of those major losses. One for us was the passing of Ron Cephas Jones, who was better known as William on This Is Us, which is one of our absolutely favorite shows.
Hey, Kiki.
Hey, y'all. And so Ron Cephas Jones departed this life and left with us a beautiful body of work and a beautiful daughter who is an actress and phenomenon in her own right, in Jasmine Jones. One Mr. Bob Barker. Like that was like, wait a minute, Bob, like he almost made it to that 100 mark.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had thought that ain't funny. Stop laughing. I kind of had thought Bob had passed away already. I didn't know until they said it, and then I was like, oh, he was still with us. So praise God that Bob got to live as long as he did. But yes, Ron Cephas Jones, great body of work. Bob Barker, I mean, listen, he was coming to us for years. I think they said 35 years on The Price is Right. You know, if you grew up with your grandmothers or what have you, many folks welcome Bob into their house.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Well, Bob Barker, and then even this week or just over the last few days, Bill Richardson, former governor of New Mexico, he also was very instrumental. He was in the Clinton administration and the Obama administration, but he also was really instrumental in negotiating release of Americans who were jailed abroad. And his most recent one he worked on was in the release of Brittany Griner. Mm-hmm. So that's only a few months ago. He passed away at 75. One Mr. Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville, he passed away as well.
I was trying not to look.
Kiana, I'm not messing with you with this comment, but I guess he did.
He kept it under a
He
buck.
kept it under a buck. You know, that was real. Rest in power, absolutely. Rest in power, absolutely. So rest in power to all those who we lost. And you know, one thing we know for sure is that none of us know that day or time. And so we hope to be blessed with longevity. And if we're not blessed with longevity, we hope that we have had an impact on the world in the dash that we had. So
Yes.
live your best life, live it every day, go for what you know, and just do this thing until the wheels fall off.
Absolutely.
The next thing, number 9, Kiki, and do you love me? Are you riding? You're not gonna sing with me, sister?
That was enough. So this summer we were captivated by the tale of Kiki Palmer and Darius Dalton. If you don't know what I'm talking about, y'all know Kiki had a baby. Y'all know Kiki's body went from 0 to hero.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's my girl. I love Kiki Palmer.
Get to the
her
crux.
baby daddy had some stuff to say, particularly because she went to one Mr. Usher Raymond IV's concert residency in Vegas. And her baby daddy wasn't feeling what she had on because she's a mother, after all. So we thought they broke up. But apparently they did not. I'm not really sure exactly what they're doing. But what I do know is right now I'm feeling like everybody got played. Like it was probably all a part of a bigger marketing plan because Usher released a song called Boyfriend. Kiki Palmer is in the video. And she was just with Darius recently and apparently got his birthday tattooed under her buttocks. So I guess that means you're back together.
Or would you ever apart?
I don't think they
Jody agrees. I don't think they was ever apart either, girl. But you know, let me tell you something about this social media world out here. You better be watching yourself because you will be getting played every day. Okay.
But I will say this about Kiki. You know, we know that she is the ultimate marketer. She's been doing a great job on social media. Like that is her bread and butter. So, you know, I did feel like, you know, her baby daddy was a little bit out of order, saying stuff like, you know, talking about how she was dressed, but also saying what's wrong with a man wanting to keep his family together. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, technically you are not her husband. And if you were her husband, then I would hope that you all had that conversation before she went to the Usher concert. But then it's a concert and it's entertainment and she is an entertainer. So I give her props for at least turning what seemed like a controversy into another money-making opportunity.
Listen, I wasn't feeling her outfit and I wasn't feeling his comment, and I'm feeling like they played her for attention. Listen, I was not offended by her outfit in any way, shape, or form. She had on a bodysuit with a sheer cover up. It's Las Vegas. Her booty cheeks was out. Like I see more booty cheeks out just going to the grocery store these days. Okay. And if you everybody is in the Renaissance right now, everybody's out there with their ass out. So you know what, girl, have your ass out if you want to have your ass out. That's your business. But if you're in a relationship with someone, here's the thing. Have conversations with the person you're in relationship with and not the whole world. And yes, honey, the video for Boyfriend was hot. I love the song. I love the beat. I love all the throwback references and the concept. They did a wonderful job. And he was way out of order. Put a ring on it. If he liked it, he would have put a ring on it.
Well, he was way out of order, or was he? If it was all a marketing ploy.
If it was all a marketing ploy, it was
executed pretty well.
All a part of the master plan. Let's talk about Tory Lanez is in chains, honey. Oh, Tory Lanez is in chains. Now, one Mr. Tory Lanez, we know about the incident with him and Megan Thee Stallion. They had the court. He was convicted. Folks was still caping for him.
Still caping.
And they still caping for him now. Like way too much. Like a little too much for me. But yes, he's been convicted. Is that one there? He's been convicted, sentenced to 10 years for assaulting Megan Thee Stallion. And this wasn't just like, oh, he assaulted her. He actually shot her in the foot. He is going to, he's gonna serve his time. Yep. Okay.
Delete. Sorry, this is my sister's. Go ahead, sister.
Yeah.
This is your realm. Just sit back here.
So I don't know, sister. What do you think about the situation with Tory Lanez, the sentencing, or more importantly, how is it that we are in the year of our Lord 2023 and we still have people who are trying to justify his actions in any way, shape, or form?
I don't know. I mean, it looked pretty. I mean, looked pretty clear to me that he shot her, and I mean that ain't even a storyline like to go with. Why would she have made that up? I don't even understand. But regardless, a jury found him guilty. And here's the thing about the justice system: I don't always agree with it. I don't always believe they get it right, but they decided that 10 years was what he's gonna get. So sat out. I mean, he got married to his baby mama now, which I have questions for her. To put day in my business, but I have questions for you, sis. Like, if he wasn't trying to marry you before lockdown, was he trying to get some money on his books? I don't know.
No, they're trying to secure the bag. They're trying to secure the money that he does have.
Well, my niece has a theory that so she wouldn't she wouldn't be able to say anything, like if
NDA. Yeah. She can't testify against
you know, there's others that were saying, well, I mean, would testify against what?
I guess if he appeals, I'll go back to court. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And then there are others who are suggesting that it was done for a green card. You know, he's a Canadian citizen. I don't know. I think she may be Canadian too. So that theory is probably incorrect. The bottom line is this: for the folks who are still caping for this dude, I need you to ask yourself, if it was your mama, your sister, your girlfriend, your cousin, what have you, how would you feel about that? Because at the end of the day, again, I don't see why this woman would have lied about being shot. But then there's video.
But she lied. There's video. We know
that was the justification for why they were supporting him. Oh, she lied. That didn't even make sense. It wouldn't even make sense for her to lie about. But also, there's video.
There's video. She went to the hospital like she was treated. Like there was no lie in her being shot.
Right.
We know she was shot.
So I don't understand. There is no reason for you to be supporting a man shooting a woman, for especially a woman who's like asking.
Child, but people are supporting a man who was convicted of raping a woman. But we ain't even gonna go there.
We'll get there.
But Tory Lanez is in chains. He is gonna serve his time. He probably will not serve the whole time because we know how the justice system works. So, bruh, go hold it down, do your bid, and then hopefully you will grow as a human being and then recognize the error of your behavior and of your ways. Yes, they are not interested in protecting Black women. Honey, they're not interested in protecting Black women, Asian women, white women. We know they still ain't been trying to protect y'all. Y'all think y'all being protected, but honey, y'all getting played every day. So, but in this situation, it is absolutely absurd. And especially for those who are in the business and industry to continue to pay for this dude, knowing what he did to this woman. And yeah,
he's like 5'2", and I don't even know that he's that great of a rapper. What are we caping for? Like, cape for somebody who actually has done something and given us something in this society.
Whew, child. Anyway, we is moving right along. Oh, we going fast.
We can slow down.
Oh no, we going fast. No, because some of these when we get to these higher numbers, we're gonna spend a little bit more time. And then we have all the crap that done popped off this week. But let me tell you something, Lizzo, you need to watch out for the big girls, okay?
I don't know what to say as far as
what you mean you don't know what to say.
I'm so confused. I'm genuinely confused about all. Did you harass them? What is harassment? Is it because she took them somewhere? Is it because like and then why did they come back to try out to work? Like, it's so you tell the story about what happened. So for folks who may not know.
In a nutshell, some of Lizzo's performers or background dancers are suing her for hostile work environments, sexual harassment, and other workplace behaviors. And I've seen so many different comments, right? So we saw them, they went on Good Morning America, they made these statements. Lizzo came out and denied it very explicitly. And then, one of the people who was a part of the lawsuit was also tried out. No, they had her video where she tried out for season 2 and talked about how much she loved her and all this stuff. When you work with people and you work with these very close environments, there's a fine line between being a boss and being a friend. If you're the boss, you're going to have to stay the boss all the time. That means you cannot fraternize. Don't say you can't have a good time. Don't say you may not take your team to dinner. Don't mean certain things. But there's a line where you have to step out as the boss. Mm-hmm. You have to step away as the boss and allow them to participate in whatever activity they want to participate in at their own behest. But it's saying that you forced them to touch these strippers and they didn't want to touch them, and then they were dancing on them. They felt so embarrassed and hurt and this and all of this stuff, and about their size. And we know she's all about body positivity. It's a lot.
Right. That's why this one is very hard for me. So first, in case you all don't know, Watch Out for the Big Girls was the actual reality show that Lizzo put on in order to have these young women audition for her dancers
for her tour.
Mm-hmm. And so some of these young women are on this show, and we're watching them interact with Lizzo. We were watching them, try out and all of the ups and downs of that. It's so many layers, because I even heard someone saying how, I think it was Sunny Hostin on The View, was saying how there was a documentary about Lizzo, and one of the people who was asked to do the documentary, she kind of sort of indicated that she did not take that job, or she quit before doing the job because of the hostile nature of the work environment. It's so challenging to think that, if someone like Lizzo, who talks about body positivity all the time, would be fat shaming, or it's so hard to think that. But it's equally difficult because some of the very people who are pointing their fingers at Lizzo are then, and by people I mean fans or whatever, people on the internet, they're ultimately also using some of the same hostile language towards her. So this is a multi-layer. She has vehemently denied any wrongdoing. This is a multi-layered issue, and I just hate to see this for all of the young women involved, mm-hmm. honestly.
Well, I need my HR experts out there to kind of weigh in, because also everybody can't claim hostile work environment, if I'm correct.
Yeah, there's protected
classes. Because you have, you hostile work environment are for protected classes and for certain very specific things. And so, and it should be able to have documentation of the harassment and or the communication that made you feel unsafe, uncomfortable, or whatever, afraid, like whatever it is. And so in this instance, I don't know, but I would just say, Watch Out for the Big Girls was going to have a season 2. I don't know if that season 2 is now going to air because of this lawsuit. However, this is one of those situations where you have to be very careful of blurring the line between being the boss and being one of the girls.
Right.
And in this situation, sis, you're not one of the girls. Now, the people who you hire as well as far as road managers and security and all the other people who make the apparatus work, you have to do your due diligence. You can't be hands off, like hands on and hands off. No, 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 no. You got to be clear. You got to have policies and procedures in place, and all of this has to be very clear. Says, yes, ma'am. I say that at least once a week. Exhausting. Yes, you can't have it both ways. You can't be friends and the boss at the same time. It don't work. It just don't. Always will end up here.
And you would hope that at this point in our lives, when we are not saying you can't be friendly with people that you work
and
with,
friends is two different things.
right? But at this point, you would hope that this woman has her own set of friends, and she had them before. So let's be clear about the roles here.
Yes. And we would hope at these big ages that people have friends and they don't need to hire people to be their friend. I'm just saying.
Well, all right then.
Whew, Jamie Foxx. Who is that? But before we get into who is they, we just want to say we are so happy to see this brother have a recovery.
Yes.
We don't know the nature of his illness. We don't know all what happened. And one of the things that struck me was one of the video, heartfelt video and thanks that he put out to his sister and his sister and his daughter. And he was like, they held it down. It was like click, 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 clap. Like TMZ reported something, but they reported that he had an illness, blah, 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 clap. Everything was clacked down. They kept it down and they held it. They held what the illness was. They held what his recovery process was. They held everything. And that does not happen nowadays. So I got to give them a big round of applause for protecting someone they love. And so as a counter to what we just talked about with Lizzo, baby, you got to have folks around you who really invested in you, because his people held him down. You hear me?
They did. And not only that, I mean, it's crazy how in this day and age, when something goes down, we go to TMZ first to confirm it. Like somebody died, let's see if TMZ is reporting it. Somebody got arrested, let's see if TMZ is reporting it. And I believe it was TMZ that had actually wrote that he was doing poorly and he was in poor health, and it was his daughter.
It wasn't TMZ. It was some other rando site, and like they said, you need to watch out for all these rando sites.
Okay, well,
and who's really behind these rando sites?
My bad, TMZ. But I just know it was reported that that he was in really ill health and had celebrities and other folks saying, "Oh, get well, Jamie." Like they're thinking he on the verge of death at that point, and his daughter had to come out and say, "Not so much. He's been recovering and he's doing exceptionally well." Actually, he was out playing pickleball. The new craze.
The pickleball craze.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, who is stage driving?
Okay. Oh, there's another comment. Remember Chad Boseman? Yes, he had stage 4 cancer, and his circle was so small, no one outside knew.
Absolutely.
Even the actors who was on film sets with him was like, I thought he was a little aloof. We didn't know why he was always meditating and he wasn't hanging out with nobody. Baby, they kept it tight.
Yeah.
That's the type of folks you want in your life. Are you that type of person, sister?
I'm not about to play with you. Let's talk about this. We're about to talk about fake friends, because that's where this all rooted from.
That's where it's rooted from, the fake friends. Yes. So talk about who is that.
So listen, apparently Jamie Foxx had a situation where someone betrayed him, and they showed themselves or proved themselves to be fake friends. And as he does, and I don't know if we can actually share it or put it up there, as many of us have said culturally, we were just playing culture tags. In the Black community, I can't speak for other communities, but in the Black community, there are certain idioms.
In this Black community,
there are certain idioms, certain phrases, colloquialisms that kind of everybody just knows. And so one of those things was Jamie Foxx basically referenced, if they basically, I'm paraphrasing, but you can look up the actual
then we drop it in the comments.
Instagram post, like, if they killed Jesus, what would they do to you? Mm-hmm. Now, in all of my life, when we've used that terminology, if they killed Jesus, what do you think they would do to you? It was an expression of, for many of us, Black Americans, Jesus, or African Americans, or however you identify, melanated people, Jesus is the epitome of perfection, right? Jesus is on a very high level in our lives.
On the pedestal.
Many of our grandmothers had Jesus, Martin Luther King hanging in,
and don't forget
John F. Kennedy hanging pictures hanging on their
on
walls.
the church flag.
Or
Y'all, if you grew up in the Black church, you know what we talking about.
Absolutely. So when we say they killed Jesus, what do you think they would do to you? That is to suggest that if Jesus is perfect and he was persecuted, none of us should expect to be to
get out of here unscathed.
Absolutely. There is an opportunity for all of us, as they say, we could all get it.
We could all get it. And even when your boy close to you, like Judas, he one of your 12 walking with you, you could get it too, right?
You can get it too. So somehow this Instagram post then became anti-Semitic. There are those in the Jewish community, and I have to believe that it wasn't everybody in the Jewish community, because I am certain that there are those who had conversations to understand this cultural balance or cultural reference. Yes. There were those in the Jewish community who took offense and indicated that the they was a reference to Jewish people, and that there is this belief which has created anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic hate towards Jewish people, because it is the Jewish people who allegedly killed Christ. Now, here's my thing. Jesus was Jewish. So when we're making reference to they, I don't know a Black person who was thinking about Jewish people in that moment. I'm not saying that I can speak for how, because I'm not Jewish, so I can't speak for how someone can interpret it, but I can speak for how it was intended. I can speak for how it's intended, because just like when we were playing culture tags, there are all these colloquialisms that we just all say and reference and know.
Like Joey just said.
Exactly. They talked about they. It was not to suggest any specific group of people. And he went further to hashtag it fake friends. So he was very specifically talking about people betraying you, people you thought were close to you, people you love. Here was my problem with the whole situation. And then I'm going to let you have it.
Okay.
I watched this Tubi TV documentary called Deconstructing Karen. And in it, it's about the race to dinner. Two women who started these dinners for white women to basically take responsibility for their participation in racism and patriarchy. And in the conversation, one of the rules is you can't cry. And they explain why are we saying you can't cry? You can't cry because if you cry, then the attention is no longer on me, it's now on you. You have now made yourself the center. You centered yourself. That's what I felt happened here. And I didn't like that at all. I felt like, understand what people say their intent was. His intent was not to be anti-Semitic. His intent was, he was repeating again a phrase, a colloquialism, an idiom that we repeat often. And when someone then decides you're being anti-Semitic, when you said they, you meant us, then you've centered yourself in my pain. You've dismissed my pain. You've indicated that my pain is not valuable. He is obviously very upset about these fake friends. You've dismissed my pain. You've centered yourself, and you've made this about you. And that was my issue. Understand people's intent. And let's start. I mean, we say it all the time, but assume positive intent. I know that this wasn't a positive situation, but he wasn't talking about you.
Well, I'm going to say this because so many people remember Stephen Covey and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the problems we have today is nobody wants to seek first to understand. It says seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Mhm.
So if before people started unliking what he had posted and then coming back in the comments and then going all of it, seek first to understand. And if they sought first to understand, there would never have been a hullabaloo, an outrage,
Right.
or any of those things, because they would have gotten into his experience. And so I want to challenge all of us right now in this moment in time, before you fly off the handle, before you assume negative or positive intent, before you assume anything, seek first to understand. Ask a clarifying question. And so many people who commented and liked the post and then unliked it and doing all this.
Jennifer Anderson, we're talking about.
Well, not just her. I think, well,
But
she
she was-
specifically, she was very egregious in hers, because then she added some more comments. And
Right.
like, sometimes y'all just need to shut up. It ain't no commentary necessary. But if you're gonna say something, you need to stand firm in what you say.
But you also centered yourself into
his situation.
Right.
Just like, okay, we're gonna talk about this. It's not on this.
I just want to say this real quick. It says, in a since deleted post, Foxx wrote, "They killed this dude named Jesus. What you think they'll do to you? Hashtag fake friends, hashtag fake love." And then a newsletter called A Wider Frame that says it aims to provide a better overall understanding and scope of Jewish world news shared Fox's original post and called it horrifically anti-Semitic. And then actor Jennifer Aniston then reposted A Wider Frame after she came under fire for seeming to have liked Fox's post. So that's when it made her sick and all this stuff.
Sit down and hush and seek first and even a wider frame before they decided to publish. But here's the other thing. Everybody has a platform. Everybody's publishing stuff and trying to be the first to respond and the first to react and get the first reaction. That most of this stuff out here is all wrong. It's wrong. They just wrong. And just because something is repeated over and over again, I say this all the time. Just because something just because you do something wrong for a long time, don't make it right. Just because you tell a lie for a long time, don't make it the truth. Period, point blank. So fix it. Seek first to understand and stop centering yourself in other people's trauma, drama, or hurt experiences. And just be silent.
And if they wanted to understand, if you are really that dude's friend,
hello,
you could have picked up the phone and had a conversation.
Or if you work with him in any capacity, you could probably say, "Hey man, I saw this. I want to understand what you're saying here." And then he could have explained it and it would have been over, done with, boom, move on.
But then he ultimately apologized. And I don't agree that he should have apologized, because at the end of the day, again, what is the intent? Did he intend to offend the entire Jewish community? No, he was talking about fake friends and fake love. Like, stop it. Let's it's again the selective outrage.
Yes, honey, and Chris Rock did a whole special on selective outrage. We gonna go on to the next thing. Woo, child.
You want to tell that story real quick before we jump over
this one?
Yeah, because you were saying about people centering themselves. Are you?
We'll get to it later.
Okay.
There'll be a little land yap on the end when we get there, because we got to get through these other 5.
Okay.
If you don't know what FAAFO means,
F around and find out.
F around and find out, Putin style. So there was this Russian mercenary, Prigozhin, who the Wagner, whatever, however you said it, looked like it spelled Wagner to me, but because I remember, yeah. I ain't saying his first name. I can say the last name. It's Prigozhin. I know that much. I can't get the Yiggy, whatever it is. But nonetheless, he is the owner of this mercenary group. They were playing a critical part. They've been playing parts in all over the continent of Africa and some different countries' disputes. He was playing a very significant role in the Russian war against Ukraine. And at one point, he was very dismissive and degrading of how the Russian military was their performance and some of their decision making. And he wanted to try to roll up with the tanks right there to the Kremlin, and I don't know if he was trying to do a takeover because that's what he, kind of was trying to do. But they supposedly talked instead of things. And then about a month later, because it was all good. He was still out there doing stuff. He was still talking to Putin. They was like bam, bam, bam. Hey, they still doing their thing. A month later, like 2 weeks ago.
It was actually in June, it seems.
Was it in June? It's been that long? Because we already in September.
Moscow's military leadership in June is presumed dead. Oh no! Oh, okay, I'm sorry. That was in August. The head of it, who launched a rebellion against Moscow.
Yeah, the June was when the rebellion happened. Okay, like I said, it was about a month had passed.
August. So
yeah, Putin was like, "I'm gonna let you think you did something," and boom.
But wait, the funny part is in this article, we sharing it at the end. It just is like President Vladimir Putin expressed his condolences about it.
He sure did. Yeah. They shot this man plane out there. He was about to take off and go back to Africa and do some work with some other countries and be mercenary and try to prop up their militaries. And boom, 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 plane dropped out the sky.
Yeah.
So Putin was like, he said, prayers, sorrows, prayers. He said, F around and find out.
I will say this. Who thought
they was getting away from Putin like that?
What I will say is, when I watched this news story, one of the things that I found to be so interesting is that the newscaster was like, instead of it being like, oh my gosh, this is such a terror, which he did, he expressed it, but it was like, I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah.
That was very, very telling. That was very telling. So, I guess. All right.
I guess too, honey. I don't know what y'all think, but when I saw that plane got shot out of the sky, I too felt like the man. I was like, well, okay. He wanted to make him feel good about himself. He wanted to make him feel like he had survived something, and he had not, and clearly put everybody else on notice. If you are in my
airspace, what?
No, airspace. If you in my crew in any way, shape, or form, find out if you want to go against me. See what happens. Yes, it was just a matter of time. And we didn't know when the time or the date was gonna be, but he sure did in August. He dropped it out the sky. When they say drop it low, they ain't know they was talking about that. But, whew, that was a rough one.
That was.
But in the spirit of F around and find out, let's talk about the Fade in the Water. Now, if you haven't checked out the Fade in the Water playlist on, this is exactly how it's titled on Spotify. Fade in the Water, Montgomery Borough. If you want to get hyped, if you need to work out to some music to get you going, go ahead and download that Fade in the Water playlist, honey. You will be, because it starts off with, hey, y'all know about that nut if you but download that Fade in the Water playlist. Y'all will enjoy it. Oh, say my husband coming in. He want to talk about this one.
Come on, you talking about
Fade in the Water. You want to talk about Fade in the Water?
Everybody's coming in.
Everybody's coming in because everything is ended and taking kids home. But yeah, Fade in the Water. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was a great one. We were only a week away from it, right?
We were a week earlier. Our family reunion was in Montgomery. And just thank the Lord, because he knew we did not need to be
We did not need to be part of that.
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to jump off the boat and swim.
I could have swam, but I would have got tired by halfway there.
I would have been a martyr. I've been a martyr for the cause.
Listen. So if you under a rock, that means you don't know what we talking about. Because you would clearly have to be under a rock to know what we talking about. But in one Montgomery, Alabama, okay, see y'all. In one Montgomery, Alabama, there was a You know, people go out on these little boat cruises. Okay, hey, y'all leave it too. All right, bye.
We're gonna play more culture tag game.
I mean, we can today, you know.
Y'all go work out
tomorrow.
Sit down. Sit on down. All right, close that door, girl. I just fade in the water real fast. So, listen.
We had just been in Montgomery the week before for our film reunion. This is my opinion about it. Let me tell you something.
We had been in Montgomery the week before for our family reunion.
When you go to the Legacy Museum, the Freedom Rides Museum, the Rosa Parks Museum, the National Peace and
Dexter Avenue Baptist Church.
When you've gone to all these places and you see all of these things, you have all these reminders of, I mean, that is the town of historical markers, baby. When you have all of these reminders of a time when our people were
very thin line,
very oppressed, between the references to the civil rights, the fight for civil rights, along with the references to the Confederacy. It was home of the first Confederate White House, which again, we were like, that's just a misnomer. Why would you need a White House if you trying to be away from the United States?
If you trying to be a whole nother country, but why y'all wanted your own White House? Okay,
but
stop it.
All of these things just make you're on. I felt like it's easy to be on edge. So the last thing you need is some folks coming up from Selma, Alabama, being belligerent when you just trying to do your job.
Selma to Montgomery, y'all know that 80-mile stretch, right? Yeah. Because see, what people don't realize, that walk from Selma to Montgomery, because we drove that stretch of road, that all along the way there were people where they stopped and they camped out and slept over mile, because it's like an 80-mile walk. So it wasn't like they just walked straight. Okay, so that's a whole nother thing. But when you heard all the perspectives, especially the riverboat captain, who was like, listen, we done had problems with this same group before.
Yes.
I was announcing over the people, can you move your boat?
They were in a pontoon. This is
a
riverboat.
We need to dock. And then he was like, I told my boy who worked there, go ahead and move. Because most people in the maritime community, if you're blocking someone and someone just moves your boat, it's not a big deal. That's what the little man said. But no, they wanted to clown. And they wanted to attack this man who was trying to, and like, first of all, they came at him with a whole bunch of aggression about why he moving a boat and all of this. We moving your boat because you in the way. And you're not listening to the command. The man is asking you to move your boat because we need to dock this riverboat. And then they wanted to jump this man.
Right.
Then they wanted
to jump him.
They wanted to jump this singular person, because I'm sure they were exchanging words, and it was clearly that, okay, we were exchanging words, but they wanted to jump this singular man. So then they thought it was over until the crew got there. Because the crew, when the boat docked, before the boat docked, the little 16-year-old, my boy said, I'm going to dive
in the water
in this river, and I'm about to swim to shore. But when the crew docked and the boys came off the boat, because they all told them, they were telling them, if you watch all the footage and all the angles, they told them from the boat, you about to stay right there. Stay right there. And then as it was going on, you know how people say, mind your business. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Here comes somebody with her happy self down the steps, because she was on the top deck with all the other people who are waiting to go on. They gotta take a load of people off the boat. More people go on the boat. They go up and down the river. Boom. That's how these river cruises work. Listen, girl, I just took swimming lessons. I had to refresh my strokes and get my backstroke right. Had to refresh it, and I'm gonna take another set of swimming lessons because I'm gonna have it perfect. I'm gonna be flipping over in the water and everything. But she had to walk herself down the steps and like, why don't you stop? Why don't you stop? And that's why she got her behind thrown in the water. Because sometimes you need to mind your
Well, there were a lot of people who weren't saying, why don't you stop? Why don't you stop? Some of those women were going in there trying to get their licks in. And so...
Oh, or they were trying to pull the brothers off. No, don't touch me. No.
Here's what I will say.
What you gonna say?
The captain of the riverboat, he said it wasn't a black and white issue. It was the fact that they saw their fellow crew member being attacked. He said he saw, the white folks from Selma who they've had issues with before. He was obviously a white man. That, he saw one attack the crew member. And then he said he saw these other white guys coming over and he thought they were going to be helping. And of course they didn't, they jumped in. And he said it wasn't a black and white issue. And in fact, that they, it's called the Harriet II, the name of the riverboat. Go figure. And he's just saying that, they want to do a unity walk and all of these things because it wasn't about black and white. Well, maybe for him it wasn't. And maybe for his crew it wasn't. Maybe it was just a matter of you see your boy, you see your fellow employee, and you got to jump in. And because you don't want that person to be attacked and killed. But for a lot of people, it was absolutely a black and white issue. It was we are tired of this. It was we're not going to just take abuse. And we're not going to let you take advantage of abusing someone else. It was, we have been oppressed long enough in this place that is the city, this was once the seat of the Confederacy. We have been oppressed enough and we're not going to take it. So if you coming for one, you coming for all. And at that moment, that was what the sentiment was for a lot of people. So, I mean, I'm happy for those who
I'm going to say this. This is the problem with this country. People always want to say it's not a black and white issue. When you are founded on, and your original sin is chattel slavery, when you're founded on stealing land from indigenous people, it is always rooted in race. And that's what we got to be honest about. Now, it may not, as he felt in that moment, but we were in Montgomery, as you just said. And all the things that you can clearly see, if you walk around Montgomery, you can feel.
Yeah.
You can literally, it's palpable, the weight that is in that city. And so for him, it's easy to say from his worldview and perspective, it's not a black and white thing. But when we're honest about this country, it's always a black and white thing. And that's what we need to do. What you say there? Why is it always about race? Because it's always about race. At the end of the day, that's what it was about. Because at the end, for me, it was this person telling you to move. And you know you in the wrong because you can see that damn big ass riverboat that's trying to die. You know your ass is wrong, but you want to act like you right.
Well, and the captain went on to say, listen, I will call the police. I don't want to call the police, but you know how much alcohol y'all have on this boat. So it was the unmitigated gall to think that I'm going to get off this boat and I'm going to fight somebody who had nothing to do. They were just doing their job. But baby, again, when that brother threw that hat up in the air, honey,
oh, it was like regulators, mount up. Hey, that's what Warren G say, right? It was a clear, beautiful day in Montgomery. It was beautiful. The folks was waiting to go on that. The other people was waiting up at the top. They were waiting to go on their boat ride because it was a clear blue day. Well, y'all download that thing in the water. Yes, the hat signal. Woo-hoo! Like I said, regulators mount up. Okay. if you're not in it, so Florida, we've been on the news all the time lately, and I know y'all getting tired of Florida because I'm getting tired of Florida. Okay, aren't y'all tired of us? Aren't you tired of us?
Yes.
I'm tired of us too. But if you haven't heard about this PragerU, which is not a real university, and all of the bulls, corn, and crap that's happening here, but this Prager, what the U is now been allowed to play these educational videos in our public schools. And when I tell you the egregiousness of these videos, let me see if we can pull one up. Hold on, let me try to pull one up, because I just need y'all. I need y'all to see.
That's probably it. That's
oh,
it.
this one.
Yeah,
let's talk about this. Hold on. Can I?
You have to pause it and go back.
Okay, but I can't. Wait. Hold on.
Well, you got it already copied.
Okay, no, this is what I want to do.
Go back to.
No, I know. Hold on now, y'all know I'm doing this in real time, so that's why I am because I want y'all to see how egregious this is. Boom. Let me share this. Because I want y'all to see how egregious this is, how offensive this is, and that they're playing it in schools for children. We already know they're trying to whitewash our history. This is beyond whitewashing our history. But I'm going to give y'all a little bit. I'm not going to play it all. Certainly not, because they ain't getting 7 minutes of my time.
That's right, Bob. Despite some violence and destruction by some of our angrier activists, we're seeing mostly peaceful protests.
Protesters are demanding that the police be abolished.
Well, Clint, these local activists want to abolish the police. They're claiming systematic oppression and want the U.S. system torn down.
What is going on?
Can y'all hear that? Do y'all got the sound? I just want to make sure y'all got the sound.
It said sharing sound.
Okay, I just want to make sure y'all have the sound so y'all can hear. Y'all hear what they have, where they going with this, right? Okay. I wasn't trying to do that.
Things are so weird right now.
I know. Mrs. Calder gave us an assignment today about being activists for justice.
Isn't Mrs. Calder your math teacher?
Yeah. We learn math, but we spend a lot of time learning about the stuff they talk about in the news.
That's weird. Isn't math class supposed to be for math?
Why is everyone so angry? Are they burning a car? What does abolish even mean?
And I'm currently working on getting something abolished.
Abolish means to end, right? What are you wanting to get rid of?
I want slavery to end. At this time that you have come to visit, for half of the United States, it is okay for some people to own other people, make them work for many hours for no pay, and force them to do anything, anytime.
That's so unfair and horrible.
You're right. The sad fact is slavery has existed everywhere in the world for thousands of years. But it's especially disappointing here because America was founded on the idea of freedom. Yet so many black people are not free.
Are you a slave, Mr. Douglass?
I was, but not anymore. I was born a slave, and I was taken from my family at the age of 6.
That's just so terrible. How did you deal with that?
It was very hard, and I was often sad. But I taught myself to read and write, and like I always say, knowledge is the pathway from slavery to freedom. As a boy, I was regularly beaten. But when I was 21, I had had enough and escaped to the North, where slavery is against the law, and have never looked back. Today, I am a free American, fighting for all to be free.
How can there be slavery in America when the founding fathers said that all men are created equal?
Yeah, and I've heard that some of...
I'm not going to play it all. I'm going to let y'all go ahead and listen to the rest. Okay, but I will tell you this. This is what happens when you take a kernel of truth and then wrap it in some sugar, and then you wrap it in a whole bunch of stuff so that it's palatable and it goes down easy. But it's still just a kernel because everything you wrapped it else in is lies and factually incorrect data and information. And this is what's happening when our educational system is under assault right now. And one parent can say, I don't like this, so we're going to wipe out all these books because one person. My thing is, if you don't want your child to take AP African American history, then they don't need to take it. But don't say it don't need to be taught. If you don't want your child to read To Kill a Mockingbird, sign the damn permission slip and your child won't read it. But don't say everybody else in the class don't need to read it. Because this is what is happening. And we're going to take Frederick Douglass. And like you said, yeah, it happened everywhere in the world, little girl. It's okay. Swing low, sweet chariot starts playing. Yeah, it happened everywhere in the world. No, chattel slavery didn't happen everywhere in the world. The system that we had in these United States didn't happen everywhere in the world. It did not. Study your history, know your facts, and teach your own children. What you say, sister?
Well, what I say is it is very oxymoronic to me that people will say they don't want you to teach AP African American history that has been a curriculum that was built by actual experts, but a fake university can create content for your children to study in their schools because they are more comfortable with that as opposed to what
in Arkansas. Because now Arkansas is on the bandwagon. If you any of those states that was in red, y'all be on the lookout, okay? Because your children are going to be ill prepared. But in Arkansas, they also just passed a similar ban on teaching African American. You mean in Arkansas, where you sit in the governor's house that's in Little Rock, where the Little Rock 9, the Central High School 9, because you don't want them to learn what? The fact?
But you have statues. So again, you have statues of the Little Rock 9. How are they going to be educated about it if you're banning them being taught it? Or you want them to be taught what you want them to be taught and how you want them to be taught. And you're going to put it in cute little cartoons and make it as if.
Or say that, well, everybody wasn't bad. Right. Like, we wanted to be with the Black people, but we still wanted our own school.
Right. It's so troubling because again, experts have created AP English, AP African American Black history courses. These are not experts who worked on this. The other part is what's oxymoronic to me is these are the same people who say they don't want they want government to stay out of everything. But the second they get an opportunity to say, well, I don't want your child to learn this, I'm going to go into a government body like the school board and complain. I'm going to write a letter. I'm going to use what was the Moms of Liberty or what have you. They're going to put a Black man out of his job who was duly elected. It's like you're weaponizing government.
Oh, girl, really? Are they weaponizing government?
I mean, it's been done. But I'm just saying, it's just very interesting to me.
You mean they project that, right?
I'm just saying it's interesting to me that you don't want big government, but yet every single time I turn around, y'all are at every school board meeting harassing folks, talking about, parents should decide what curriculum their kids should be involved. No, they shouldn't. Some parents are dumb as doorknobs. Let me just tell you, just because you procreate don't mean you are certified to teach.
Hello.
So
just because you procreate don't mean you can read or write.
Right. So I just will say this. I don't want to give them any extra views, but I do think it's important for you to watch this and see exactly how the trickery and the
F and F,
that too, but it's the propaganda, right? It's like you said, taking a kernel of truth and then wrapping it into so much, so many lies, so many distortions, and then packaging it as if it is a legitimate educational tool.
Yes.
Problems. Okay. So
problem. But you know who else got problems? He got 91 problems, and a sister ain't one. Because 45 got 91 counts in all kind of in state court, federal court, all the courts. He got 91.
Four indictments,
91 charges. Listen, all I'm gonna say is that we don't even need to spend a whole lot of time on this because we're gonna see how all this unfolds and how it all pans out. But I will say this for the record. It is time. It is time for accountability. And for people who are what's the word I'm looking for?
Delusional.
No, for people who are running for office right now to have the audacity to say it's okay that someone who is seeking the highest office in this country should have all of these charges and it be okay. That's a problem.
Again, the oxymoronic nature of it all for me is if someone is criminally charged, you're saying I would vote for him if he is our party's nominee. But someone who served time in prison
can't even vote.
Tell me how that works.
How it work, where it work at these United States of America. And as a matter of fact, even here in the state of Florida, where they were able to restore rights of people who had served their time, the legislators, what they do, they change the laws one more time. So the people worked hard to get the signatures, the petition, to get something on the ballot to be constitutionally voted and changed. And what they do, they change the law again. Because one thing for sure, what we know for sure, whether it's about these issues, the PragerUs and educate any of the legal process, they will change the laws to suit individual purposes. And you need to be on the lookout as to what laws in your particular state have changed and have gone into effect and are impacting your life, and you don't even know that they're impacting your life. Because I guarantee there's a whole lot of foolishness going on. Don't get caught up and don't get caught out. We're going to have to activate.
But I also want us to pay very close attention because in the state of Georgia, we see that Brian Kemp, who was also very much a Trump supporter, is now backpedaling just a bit. So let's just watch. Let's just be mindful and watch very closely how this plays out.
And let's see how it plays out. You have been tuned in live to Hey Sister. We know we are back from our summer hiatus. And for those of you who are new, welcome to Hey Sister. We hope that you continue to follow us, like, follow, share, subscribe, tune into us on Sunday evenings. And then we're doing our top 10 summer recap. And so number one for us is it's getting hot in here. Don't take off y'all clothes because I don't want to see that. But climate change, for all the climate deniers out there, this world is on fire.
Not this girl.
Not this girl. This world is on fire. And it has been on fire all summer long. So we just had one of our first hurricanes that actually was a significant hurricanes in the Atlantic season. We've already had a few other storms. We were down to Idalia, so we got through several storms. But we had a hurricane and an earthquake at the same time in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles. While we had monsoon and what was it? A dust storm or a sandstorm, monsoon. In Arizona. Mm-hmm. We had a heat dome over Texas for months and much of the Southwest, which had temperatures well above the 100-degree mark. And it always has gotten hot in Texas, but not to What were y'all pushing in Phoenix?
115 to 118.
115.
I mean, it's been hotter than that before, but it was actually we hit more than 30 consecutive days of 110 and above.
Yes, we had a whole Greek island catch a fire. We had a whole part of Maui catch a fire. We had wildfires so bad in Canada that you could literally, it changed the sky and the landscape in cities like New York and Detroit and Chicago and disrupted air travel. Climate change is real. This is not just weather patterns. Climate change is real. Human impact on climate change is real. And you know, the good truth of the matter is the earth is going to be fine without us. So if you want to live and you want this place to be inhabitable for you and your children, because certainly none of us enjoyed being outside. Even though we like to go outside, we didn't enjoy being outside this year.
Here's what I want to say.
What you want to say, girl?
And then, yeah, I'm not interested in having the conversations anymore about climate change or global warming. I heard a professor, I can't remember exactly, but the book he wrote, I'll look it up, find it. But he basically said that there are certain conversations he's not going to have. So if you are a climate denier, he's not even going to have a conversation with you. Like, we have to start with understanding science and if you just don't believe, you just don't believe. And that's the thing. I'm at the place where it's like certain people are just not going to believe that because they're committed to this idea that climate change isn't a real thing. Okay, fine. That's fine. It is not the heat of our youth. I remember growing up and always seeing Phoenix at 100 degrees and being like, wow, that is so hot. For the fact that the entire South at one point was over 100 degrees, that doesn't make sense.
And yes.
So here's what I would contend. If you don't want to have a conversation about climate change, if you don't want to have a conversation about global warming, can we at very least, have a conversation about the fact that we are creating urban jungles? There is so much concrete everywhere. Every new building that gets put up, and a building that hasn't been utilized for years, that took away green space. So water, it is absorbed by the ground. If it's all concrete there, it runs off. That creates flooding. If we don't cut grass in ditches, guess what? You're going to have an issue with water filling up and rising in your ditches. If all your drainages are clogged with your cans and with your cigarette butts and your trash, guess what? They're not going to operate the way they're supposed to operate. Again, if everything is concrete around you, every shopping center, every building, all of these things are concrete. You don't have trees for shade. You don't have plants for the oxygen, carbon dioxide exchange. The sun hits the natural ground, it's absorbed. It hits concrete, it's reflected off of that concrete. That creates heat. And so if we can't have a conversation about climate change, can we have a conversation about the fact that we don't have green spaces? Can we have a conversation about the fact that we have a lot of dilapidated buildings that are not in use, and they're contributing to this heat? Can we at least have a conversation about, if you're using all these plastic bags and plastic products, they are not going to break down in our landfills. They just don't. They're staying there. And
they're in our ocean.
And they're in our ocean. Can we talk about these cheap clothes that we buy and then throwing away after we wore them one time because we can't show up with the same outfit on again on the social media, so you're throwing it away. And all of those clothes are washing up on the shores of Africa and some of the Asian countries as well. These are real things, and these are things we could do something about. And it is frustrating to me that if you want to deny climate change, fine, but you can't deny
That is hot as hell.
That is hot as hell.
How about that?
You can't deny that it's hot as hell. You can't deny that when you drive down your street or in your area. Conversation, then I don't know. I have very little hope. But to your point, the earth's gonna take care of itself. Now, whether we in it, that's on us.
The earth's gonna take care of itself, baby, and we don't have to be here. And that will be that. But we want to thank y'all. I mean, that's our last topic. I mean, we went a little over, so some of the ancillary topics we ain't gonna get into tonight because y'all know most of it's gonna jump off and pop off next week, and we'll have more topics. So we want to thank you for tuning in to Hey Sister. If you want to join us on Hey Sister, hit us up on social media. If you have a story or if you have a topic you want to discuss and you want to be our guest, we would love to have you. We are planning out our year for 2024, so we hope to see you there. And with that, we're gonna sign off. So,
have a good night.
Good night.